up front. Maybe we could tuck her in her chest forward just a little bit. Maybe make her just a little bit more attractive at the ground in terms of her bone work and foot size and all that. But still yet a nice female. For me, it comes down to the two breeding females of the class, and that's the heifers on either end. And of those two, I think here's an easy winner up here in front. She'll be your champion. My compliments to her. We'll follow with the red heifer for reserve.
Your results in ORB, your champion comes out of class number 1, Nora Turner, representing Yukon FFA. Reserve champion comes out of class number 3, Matthew Edwards, representing Yukon FFA. We're now ready to move forward to commercial. We have one entry in class number 1. Class number 1, you may enter the arena at this time. Class number 2 has 3 entries. Please be checking in.
A nice single entry, and I'll be the first to admit I don't get to see a whole lot of this breed as I get to judge shows across the United States, and still yet when you study this one, here's one that's got a lot of growth, and when you look at her up through her head, she's kind of getting that right development that you'd ask out of this breed, and still yet one that's built nice from the side. Nice single entry. Let's give her a round of applause for a nice single calf.
First place, congratulations to Danny Kilman, Union City FFA. We have 3 entries in class number 2. Those exhibitors are invited into the arena at this time. Class 3 has 1 exhibitor, please check in. Class 4 has 1 exhibitor, please check in.
just as you would expect in a commercial drive. They're kind of all types and kinds out here, and I guess the kind that I like are just going to tend to be a little more maternal in their overall makeup, just be a little more productive in their design, and if that doesn't suit you, fine. I certainly understand there's a place for all these things within the breed or within this commercial drive and what they can do on down the road. The one I land on is this blaze face female up front, and I'll be here to tell you there's some things that maybe we could change about her, but when I just study her, here's one that just looks like a breeding female to me. She's chiseled and dynamic up to her front 1/3, and still yet she has that incredible sweep to the bottom side of her belly, the way she transitions out of her chest back into the center of her body, and still yet she has the right kind of muscle, in my estimation, to make a nice breeding female. She needs to be more powerful when you study her right behind her blade, and I think that's probably getting nitpicky on her, but that's just a real nice breeding female. Here's one that's going to come second today, a young lady has, and I think she's just kind of a combination of a lot of things, maybe just not a standout in any one area, but certainly one that combines a lot of good traits. She's good looking up front, she's bold in her ribs, she's muscular, and still yet she's good in the way she goes. Both of these two heifers at time on the front end of the class, you might see them get up just a little in their pasterns, and maybe that's just a little to do with the heat outside or whatever, but I think their angles and their joints all align correctly, and so I think these are the two that surface for me. Then we get into the heifer that comes third, and here's one that's really striking from the side. When she hits the ring, she's presented incredibly well. She's robust through her center body. She's really massive up high, and she's heavy boned and hairy, and one that's just going to make a nice club calf cow. To me, that's just not the kind that I like in my breeding program. I need to see her a little flatter in her shoulder, maybe offer just a little more future growth, and maybe just have a little more breeding look to her. But three nice females, all different types and kinds out here. Let's give these kiddos a round of applause.
The results of the class number 2, first place, and congratulations to Hudson Cooper, representing Maple 4-H. Coming in second place, Charlie Cross, Yukon FFA. And in third place, Emma Eisenhower, El Reno FFA. We have a single entry in class number 3. You may enter the arena at this time. Class number 4, please check in. Class number 5 has 2 entries. Please be checking in. Also, attention in the barns if you're interested in the tractor pull tonight at 6 p.m. Registration is now open. Registration is open outside, east of this main arena. You can register your youth for the youth tractor pull between the cattle barn and this arena until 6 p.m. Make your way outside at this time to register. We're now showing class number 3 in commercial. Class 4 and 5, please be checking in.
Here's an interesting one as a single entry, and I don't really care what breed she is, whether she's a commercial or she ends up being a key or a maintainer one day or whatever she might be. She's pretty good livestock in my estimation. Here's one that's good looking. I mean, just flat good looking from the side. She comes together incredibly nice. Young lady shows her exceptionally well. That's a good looking female up to her front 1/3, and her angles are accurate and correct. She goes to the ground well when you set her into motion, and still yet her turn and curvature to her rib is excellent. I like the muscle shape that she has, especially for a female, and maybe she has just that extra muscle shape for this commercial drive, but I think she's adequate in terms of the way she's put together. I think that's a pretty nice female. Compliments to you, young lady.
Congratulations to Lena Danielson, Mustang 4H, first place, class number 3. We're now ready to move on to class number 4. We have a single entry in this class. Following class 4, we have 2 exhibitors in class number 5. Please be checking in. Also, class number 6 has 2 entries. You may be checking in as well. Now showing a single entry, class number 4.
Another good single entry out here, and the young man has done a nice job of presenting this female. You've got her razor sharp in terms of the way she comes together from a composition standpoint. She's fresh as a daisy as you set her in the ring here. And on the park, I really like this female. I guess my issue with her is when we get her out on the lead, she doesn't want to hinge out of that hock the way she needs to. I just like to see her a little more range of motion from behind. And then when you step right in front of her, wants to open up in her blade, and then that transitions into a little more width right through her chest floor. But still yet, if we can change a couple of those things, I think she becomes a big-time player. But a really, really nice, highly presented female. Young man, you've done a nice job with this calf.
The results of the class number 4. First place, congratulations to Caden Kinder Worthington, representing Banner 4H. We have 2 entries in class number 5. Those exhibitors are welcome into the arena at this time. Class 6, we have 2 exhibitors. Please check in. Following class 6, we have 1 single entry in class number 7.
An interesting pair in this class, and I'm going to leave them the way they stand, and then certainly up for debate on this because I think there's some give and take between the two, and I'll just try to tell you what I see in the livestock as they stand here. The young lady that's going to win the class, I think when you just look at her from a maternal standpoint, ahead of her blade, she's just a little sleeker about her head and neck. She's tucked in a little tighter right there in her chest floor. Maybe a heifer that when we really break her down, she needs to be better right there in her full rib and behind her blade. She wants to get a little weak, and a heifer probably, when you study her out of her hip, just like to pick those pins up just ever so slightly. And I think that just helps her balance up on the side. But a robust female through her center body and a heifer that's functional enough on the go. The heifer that comes second in this class, I think just from the sheer standpoint of body and mass, she might hold an advantage over the class winner. And I like the turn to her rib. I like her shape up high. I think she's a muscular heifer. She wants to get a little jammed up front, and when we ask her to lead, she wants to rise in her spine ever so slightly. Might like to fix that about her. But a nice pair of heifers, certainly some debate between the two of them. That's the way I saw them today. Nice job, kids. My congratulations to you.
Attention in the barns, this is last call, final call for the Kitty Tractor Pull. Entries close here in just a couple of minutes. There's still time, but make your way to the east side of the arena to register right now. Congratulations in class number 5, first place, and congratulations to Kelby and Worthington, banner 4H. In second place, congratulations to Charlie Mock, Yukon FFA. Moving right along to class number 6, we have 2 exhibitors. Both exhibitors are in the arena at this time. Class number 7 is a single entry. Please be checking in. All of our first place exhibitors and second place exhibitors in commercial, please be standing by.
Well, another good pair of commercials, and the young lady here in the striped shirt is going to win the class. And I think when you just study this female through the center of her body, she just has that class advantage in terms of her rib shape and the way she's drawn down in her rear rib, and particularly in her flank. And I guess when I study her out through her hip, she's more symmetrical in the way she lies from hooks to pins. She looks like a breeding female up front. She's fundamentally sound whenever you set her out on the drive. The female that comes in second in this class, I like her extension and length of body. I think this is a muscular heifer. When you study her up high, she's got a ton of shape. She's thick when you get right in behind her. She wants to draw ever so slightly right there in her flank, and when you study her out through her hip, she gets a little lower in her pin set in relation to this heifer that goes out and wins the class. Good pair of heifers in this commercial drive. Again, let's reward these kids with a round of applause.
Your results of the class number 6, first place, congratulations to Aubrey Rickstraw representing El Reno FFA. In second place, Madison Blair, El Reno FFA. Moving along to the final class in our commercial. Looking for a single entry in that class. First place exhibitors in our commercial, please be standing by.
a nice single entry here, and probably one, I guess, if I was being real with everybody, probably, and when she walked in the ring, probably wasn't as the most striking heifer that I've seen all day, but when you really break this one down and study her, this is a high-quality female. She's built good up through her front end. Her angles are good. Her soundness is there. She's got a nice turn to her rib cage, and she's built good out of her hip. Maybe a heifer that when we see her later on in the winter, when she's all haired up and a little fresher in her look, I think this is one that can kind of grab your attention a little more relevantly. But still, yeah, just a high-quality heifer. My congratulations, young lady. This is a nice kid.
Congratulations to Kylie Dietrich, Yukon FFA, first place in class number 7. We're ready to bring our first place exhibitors back into the arena for your champion and reserve selection. Class number 1, Danny Kilman, Union City FFA. Class number 2, Hudson Cooper, Maple 4-H. Class number 3, Lana Danielson, Mustang 4-H. Class number 4, Caden Kinder Worthington, Banner 4-H. Class number 5, Kelby Ann Worthington, Banner 4-H. Class number 6, Aubrey Rickstraw, El Reno FFA. Class number 7, Kylie Dietrich, Yukon FFA. This is first call for all of our champion winners in our junior breeding, our heifers. All of our heifers, our champion winners, please be checking in the entry area. Please be checking in the entry area. Now showing for champion and reserve commercial.
a really good commercial drive. And then let's put our hands together for these kiddos out here. A nice set of calves out here. Just as you would expect within this drive, this commercial drive, you have just a little bit of everything and maybe something for everybody. And these cattle are all high quality as you study them all the way down the line. I guess for me, it kind of drives down to these two black ones right here in front of me. Let me just tell you kind of what I see with them, and I'll start with that young man with the blaze face heifer. Here's one that's so youthful and good looking up through her front 1/3. Her head is chiseled, her throat latch is neat. She's tucked up in her chest floor, and that sweep that she has to the bottom side of her belly is something I can really tie on to. She's flat in her shoulders. She's appropriate in the way she ties all her muscle in. Yeah, we talked about right there behind her blades, we might like to just beef her up a little bit. And maybe as we set her out on the go, here's a heifer that just wants to rise ever so slightly in her ankles. I just like to see her more relaxed in that regard. And I think with just some maturity and some flesh, she becomes even better on down the road. This black heifer that comes in behind her, maybe not as good looking up through her head, and maybe it just comes with a little bit more maturity with that regard. But still yet when you study her all the way through her body, she's neat up through her front 1/3. She's angled in her shoulder the way she ought to be. Her leg set and pasturing set and the way she handles her hock is all accurate. I really like her center body. She's a fresh, good-looking female. She's the one I'm going to tie to today to make her our champion. Congratulations.
Your commercial champion comes out of class number 3, Lady Danielson, Mustang 4H. Judge, this is your class.
So as we said before, that was a single entry, and I guess the cat's out of the bag on the one that I like the second best. I think this one has a ton of future on down the road. This young man with the blaze face heifer should be a reserve champion. Congratulations.
Reserve champion comes out of class number 2, Hudson Cooper, Maple 4H. Congratulations to all of our heifer exhibitors here this afternoon. We're going to take a moment and reset for our grand drive. We are looking for our champion exhibitors from all of our heifers classes to start lining up in the makeup pen in class order. We'll be looking for champion Hereford, Aubrey Rakestraw, El Reno FFA. Champion Main Anjou, Elena Danielson, Mustang 4H. Champion Maintainer, Ryron Fleener, El Reno FFA. Champion Shorthorn, Hudson Cooper, Maple 4H. Champion Scimitar, Caden Offolter, Yukon FFA. Champion ARB, Bryson Beaulieu, Union City FFA. Champion ORB, Nora Turner, Yukon FFA. Champion Commercial, Lana Danielson, Mustang 4H. Those are your champion exhibitors making their way into the arena at this time for our grand drive.
I know you've talked. Hey, don't touch that. No. Keep it clean, bro.
As we line up for our grand drive, I want to draw attention to the arena. If you look to my right in the arena floor, we have one of our current Hall of Fame inductees. This spring at the Canadian County Junior Livestock Show, the Board of Directors instituted a brand new Hall of Fame recognizing those who have given their all for future of youth within Canadian County and in the livestock show. Off to my right is Matt DeBelvis. He is a current Hall of Fame inductee. Earlier this evening, you saw Linda Landreth. Linda Landreth is also a current inductee into the Hall of Fame of the Canadian County Junior Livestock Show. Welcome, Matt DeBelvis. Thank you for coming again this year and witnessing some of our youth still participating in a program that you have devoted your entire life to. Welcome to our event this evening. There's still time to nominate your favorite person for our Stone Age Showmanship. Stone Age Showmanship will take place immediately following the Senior Showmanship this evening. If you have somebody you're willing to nominate, you can bring that name and $5 up here to the announcer's stand. All the money raised in our Stone Age Showmanship competitions across all species is money that will go back into the Canadian County Livestock Program and future endeavors that our program offers our youth. It's a lot of fun, a lot of great time. We had a lot of fun at the swine show this morning and then the goat show and then again in the sheep show. Tonight we look to replicate that immediately following the Senior Showmanship with our Stone Age Cattle Showman. Nominations only $5. If you do get nominated and you don't have the guts to come out to the arena, it is a $25 scratch fee, so do keep that in mind.
Well, a great lineup of cattle. Join me in congratulating our kids on making it to the Supreme Drive. A nice set of cattle here at the Canadian County Livestock Show. Yeah, and I think I'd be remiss if I didn't make the statement that I hope that you guys realize what kind of facility and venue you guys have here. And my compliments to the people that are behind the scenes that have the foresight and the progressive thinking to go ahead and put together something for like this for your kids. Not only that, for the commerce of your county. This is a first-class venue, and I certainly hope that you guys are as proud of this as I am working in it, because this is just an outstanding elite facility to have for your kids. With that said, I appreciate appreciate the work that the ring help has done here. Mr. DeValvis over there in the edge of the ring, a Hall of Fame guy, one that I certainly looked up to through all my career and appreciated all that he helped with the young guys like me getting started out. But to the business at hand with this set of cattle out here, a real nice set of functional females. I'm not going to get long-winded. There's one that I like pretty good. I think she's one to me that is functional. She's sound in her makeup. She's got the right body type, and she's one that is a maternal female that I like awfully well. Put your hands together one more time and I'll get you a champion.
Your champion comes out of ORB, Nora Turner, Yukon FFA. Congratulations to our grand champion, Nora Turner. We'll invite Matthew Edwards into the arena at this time for our junior grand reserve champion selection.
We drop in that red heifer and still a big stout burly female that offers a lot of volume, shape of rib and muscularity, and she fits the drive pretty well. I guess when I get out here and study the remaining females, I think there's one that I like second best that just kind of follows the kind of the rules. They'll go ahead and win the class. Bring out that commercial. She'll be a reserve champion. Congratulations.
Grand Reserve champion comes out of commercial. Congratulate Lana Danielson, Mustang 4H. Congratulations to our exhibitors. That does conclude our heifer show. We're going to reset the arena and get started back with our steers. We have 27 total entries. We have 1 entry in Angus. We have 5 entries in 5 classes, so 5 single entries in Charolais. Have those exhibitors ready, please. We have 2 entries in Hereford, 2 single entries in 2 classes. Have those exhibitors ready, please. Limousin, we have 4 entries, 4 singles in 4 classes. And Shorthorn. Ladies and gentlemen, please, if I could have your attention, Angus exhibitors, Charolais exhibitors, Hereford exhibitors, Limousin exhibitors, and Shorthorn, please make your way towards the makeup pen. We will work you guys in champion and reserve champion in these single class entries. We're now ready to start our steer show. We have one single entry in our Angus breed. That entry is in the arena at this time. Charolais, please be checking in. We have 5 total animals in 5 classes. We'll invite all those exhibitors into the arena at the same time. Charolais, please be checking in.
I had to take off my shoe.
As we get into our steer show, bring out this single entry Angus, and just a good, solid, fundamentally sound kind of a steer, one that's built right from the ground up. He's round in his rib cage. He's massive up top. He's really good when you step right in behind him and study his shape up high and down into his stifle. Just a nice, solid, kind of a practical steer if you're champion Angus. Congratulations, young lady.
Congratulations to Catherine Hunter, Mustang FFA, Champion Angus Beef Steer. We're now ready to move on to Charolais. We have 5 single entries in 5 classes. Waiting for Class 1, first place, Caden Offolter, Yukon FFA. First place out of Class 2, Kyler Pettigrew, Miller 4H. First place out of Class 3, Aubrey Rakestraw, El Reno FFA. First place out of Class 4, Kenzie Woods, Mustang FFA. First place out of Class 5, Kit Pettigrew, Miller 4H. Those exhibitors are welcome into the arena at this time for champion and reserve selection. Hereford, please be standing by. There are 2 entries in Hereford. Please be standing by. Check in at the entry gate.
Well, good Charolais drive, and again, all class winners out here showing for champion. We'll kind of visit about each one of them in a little bit of this heifer there, this steer that lines up and comes out of class 1. He's a well-presented calf, a calf that's got a lot of look and a lot of shape up high, a calf that's good looking up through his front end, and when you get him on the ground, here's one that gets out and goes across the ring good. He's good in his rib shape. Probably, I guess, if I was going to get on this calf just a little bit, when you study him from his hooks to his pins, he just wants to taper ever so slightly in my estimation. I know there's a lot of hair there, and the young lady's done a nice job presenting him. And then we asked this calf to go, and I know that he's being a little awkward out here. Maybe it's his first show or something, but he wants to rise in his top when we ask him on the lead. And I just like to see him relax, and there's no doubt in my mind that as this calf gets in the ring more and more times, I think that will come with him. Those are just the things that I see in that particular steer today. The young man with the gray steer, he's one that's green and raw, and I think just a pretty nice show steer. That calf is really shapely up high. He's muscular behind his blade. He's really good out of his hip, and he's sharp and sleek up through his front 1/3. This calf is very adequate in his bone work. It probably doesn't look like one of the more massive bone ones out here. Here's one that's just coming into his hair as we get into the end of the summer. This is a nice show steer. He's the kind I like to feed. The young lady that has the white steer out of class 3, really a burly steer that's got a lot of shape through his center body, a good feeding kind of calf. Maybe not as sleek and as expressive as some of the calves out here in the lineup, but a good sound-featured calf that certainly has a lot of feedability to him, one that you can just kind of turn loose and make into a nice fat steer on down the road. The steer that kind of makes you scratch your head a little bit is this gray steer out of class 4. And man, when you talk about power and shape and muscularity, he's got all those extras, and he's massive up high, and he's massive through his hip. He's a good bone steer. When you study him from his four-ear head, he just gets a little discombobulated. He gets a little bolder about his shoulder. He's a little shorter in his knee and pastern. A calf that just gets a little jammed up front to me, but I really like the extras that he has behind his blade, out through his hip and stifle. And then we get into the steer that comes out of class 5, big, burly, another good feeding steer, a steer that's big, good in his midrib, and the way he's put together. Maybe not as shapely, as sharp or defined in his muscle shape from his blade back, nor is he quite as expressive through his quarter, maybe as some of the other steers in the lineup. A good set of steers all the way through. It's just personal preference in my estimation. This is the kind of steer I like to feed right here. This young man's a great one. He'll be your champion. But it got really close between the steers that come out of class 1 and class 2, and I think as we get more time in the ring and this steer wants to relax and become a show calf, this is the one that's really going to kind of elevate himself on up there. Nice steer out of class 1, he'll be reserved.
Results in Charolais. Your champion comes out of class number 2. Congratulations to Kyler Pettigrew, Miller 4H. Reserve champion comes out of class number 1, Caden Offolter, Yukon FFA. We're ready to move forward to our Hereford. We have 2 single entries into classes. Your class winner out of class number 1, Kyler Pettigrew, Miller 4H. Your class winner out of class 2, Kason Atkinson, El Reno FFA. Those exhibitors are welcome into the arena at this time for your Hereford champion and reserve champion selection.
Don't you get a fun job? So much fun. I'm excited.
Limousine exhibitors, attention, limousine exhibitors. There are 4 entries in 4 classes, 4 single entries in 4 classes. Please be checking in at the entry gate. Your division will follow.
Look at Hereford Drive, and I think we have 2 class winners here, and we're a little out of order here, but this is the class 1. We'll talk about the young man first. Just a big, good ribbed, easy feeding kind of steer. He's massive up high, got a big old rib and loin in him, and still yet, when you slide right in behind him, he's a powerful steer that's set out there on the corners in terms of his pin set. He's good in his angles. He's soft at the ground. He's a good feeding kind of steer. Make a nice fight for the young man. Young lady's got a real long-bodied, extended steer. This calf is really long from his last rib back. He's got a lot of shape up high. Probably comes in a package that's going to require just a little more management in terms of feeding. Here's a calf that needs to go ahead and feed down in his rib and loin and still have that extra freshness to him. I think there's some give and take between the 2 of them, but the one that I like the best is the young man steer. He'll be your champion. We'll follow the young lady for reserve.
Your results in Hereford, champion comes out of class number 1, Kyler Pettigrew, representing Miller 4H. Reserve champion comes out of class number 2, Kaysen Atkinson, El Reno FFA. We're now ready to move forward to Limousin. We have 4 single entries in 4 classes. Your winner out of class number 1, Cutter Bow, representing Maple 4H. Your winner out of class number 2, Leighton Redmond, El Reno FFA. First place out of class number 3, Ella Danielson, Mustang 4H. First place out of class number 4, Kyla Bonds, Mustang FFA. Those exhibitors are welcome into the arena at this time for the selection of champion and reserve. Shorthorn, we have 1 entry in Shorthorn. Please be standing by. Your class will be next. Following Shorthorn, we have 5 entries in 5 single classes in Scimitar. Please be getting ready. Now in the arena is our champion and reserve champion selection for Limousin.
Oh, good Lemmy drive, and then 4 nice calves out here to evaluate again, all class winners, and we'll talk them as class winners individually first. Young man out here in the front of the line, just a real high quality steer, just well presented, a calf that's obviously had a lot of care in the way he's got him presented today. But besides that, he's a good looking kind of calf. He comes out of the top of his shoulders sharp, and he's good looking up front. He hits the surface incredibly well, and he's a good bodied steer that has good shape. He comes out into a really nice hip. He's a nice kind of show steer. The calf that comes second right here out of Class 2, here's one that's long-bodied, really long and extended up through his front 1/3. Here's one that's from his last rib back, has great extension. Probably when you step in behind this steer and steady him right behind his blade, he probably wants to pinch up there just a little bit, and I'd just like to see him a little more robust in the way he comes out of his full rib, and especially at the top side of his spine. But a nice calf right there. The one that you really need to study is the one that comes out of Class 3, and here he is, slick as an onion today, but that's a big, stout, powerful kind of steer. Now, when you slide right in behind him, that thing is big-backed and robust all the way back. He's thick through his quarter, and he's very adequate in his bone work. He's sound and functional on the move. Probably today he looks just a little bit harder because he is slick. And maybe a steer for his size, probably need to drop him in his flank ever so slightly, but I think, wow, when that steer here is up this winter, he could be a real player on down the road. And then we get into the steer out of Class 4, big and robust and easy feeding, a big-bodied steer that's good looking from the side, who's muscular. Maybe a steer that when you just get him out on the go, wants to roll up and crunch in his top ever so slightly. He needs to relax that, in my estimation, to make him just a little more beneficial right here in the drive. I guess for me, the one that ties it together today is the one I like to go ahead and be your champion, and I'll be the young man with the red steer out front. He'll be your champion. We'll follow with the young lady's black steer in the middle, so he'll be reserved.
Your results in Limousin, your champion comes out of class number 1, Cutter Bow, representing Maple 4H. Reserve champion comes out of class number 3, Ella Danielson, Mustang 4H. We have a single entry in Shorthorn, now entering the arena. We have 5 entries, single entries in 5 classes in Scimitar. Please be checking in at the entry gate. Please check in at the entry gate.
I think this is the only breed.
Good steer right here with a single entry. And, you know, I've kind of always said whenever we're in the dead heat of the summer, when we're right in the middle of the hottest time of the year, and we can still make them look good like this, even though they're not in full fleece, then we got something we can work with. And this is a big back steer. He's muscular. He's good in his rib shape. He's an easy feeding kind of a steer. He's one that you can just get on the bucket and go to work with this winter. When he hairs up, he's going to be a nice kind of calf. Stout and muscular when you get him behind him, and a good looking steer up front. My compliments to you, young lady. It's a nice calf.
First place out of Class 1, and your champion Shorthorn, Addie Weinrich, representing Mustang FFA. Now ready for Scimitar. First place out of Class 1, Kit Pettigrew, representing Miller 4H. First place out of Class number 2, Cass Ferguson, representing Maple 4H. First place out of Class number 3, Caitlin Patterson, Mustang FFA. First place out of class number 4, Brooklyn Beams, Yukon FFA. First place out of class number 5, Madison Shout, Piedmont FFA. Those exhibitors are welcome into the arena at this time to show for champion and reserve champion Scimitar. Following Scimitar, we will have AOB. We have 4 entries, 4 singles, and 4 single classes. Following AOB, we will have our Crossbred. Our Crossbred has 5 classes with 1 entry in each class. Following the grand drive, we will have a Pee Wee show. If you have a Pee Wee interested in competing in the Pee Wee division, please check in up here at the announcer stand. Please check in and register for that class.
Well, 5 single entries again in this drive, and we'll start with the young man down here in the hat, and he's got a good quality steer, and a calf that when you just look at from the side, he's built right, he's massive up high, he's good in his angles, he's good looking up front, he's a stout, heavy muscled steer that's got that good, easy feeding look to him through the center of his body. He might require just a little more management in terms of feeding, but the young man is certainly capable of getting enough oats in his diet to keep that calf growing and keep him coming. That's a nice, high-quality kind of steer out of Class 1. The red baldy that comes out of Class 2, he's a little more modern type of a steer in terms of length of body and extension. He's a little growthier than the steer that comes out of Class 1. And with that, he comes with a little less shape up high when you set him right behind his blades. We need to stouten him up there to make him just a little more competitive as we go on. And then kind of the same book, but another chapter in Class 3, another long-bodied steer that when you set him up in this front 130, he's good looking, he's sound and functional. Needs to be more massive up high in my estimation, and maybe just soften him through the center of his body. The baldy steer that comes out of Class 4, I like his rib shape, I like his muscle shape up high, he's really expressive. When you slide in behind him, he's plenty good in that regard. He almost gets to the point of being just a pinch hard in the way he's put together. I think soften that calf up, and certainly this winter when he comes in the full hair, one that'll be a whole lot of fun to show. And then we get down to the show steer of the bunch out of Class 5, soft in his middle and massive up high. He's the thick-ended steer. I think he's the logical winner out here. Let's give this young lady a round of applause. He'll be your champion, and we're going to follow with the black and white steer out of Class 4 for reserve.
Results in Scimitar, your champion comes out of Class number 5, Madison Shout, representing Piedmont FFA. Reserve champion comes out of Class number 1, Kit Pettigrew Miller 4H. Congratulations to all of our exhibitors in the Scimitar breed. We're now ready to move on to AOB. We have 4 entries for singles. Your first place winner out of class number 1, Kaysen Atkinson, representing El Reno FFA. First place out of class number 2, Kenley Martinez, Mustang FFA. First place out of class number 3, Cade Weinrich, Mustang FFA. First place out of class number 4, Corbin Cooper, Miller 4H. Those exhibitors are welcome in the arena at this time to show for champion and reserve. Following this, we have 5 single class entries in Crossbred. Those exhibitors should be getting ready.
Well, another good lineup of cattle. Again, I think we have 4 class winners here. Is that correct? And we'll talk about this red baldy, or this kind of a light-colored baldy calf up here in the front of the line now. Just a real practical kind of steer. A steer that's easy feeding. He's good at the ground. He's a steer that's got some shape up high. Does he have maybe the extras that some of these other calves that we've seen today have? Probably not. But still, yet just a real practical, useful kind of steer that's got a good, easy feeding look to him through the center of his body. He's good up front, and certainly a calf, that when we get him into the winter and get some maturity on him, can certainly be a player on down the road. As we get into class 2, this is kind of a head scratcher for me with this calf, and he does a lot of things right in my mind in terms of the way he's put together through his front 1/3. He's smooth in his shoulder. He's useful about his head and neck, and he's got good shape up high. He's not as soft in his body as what I'd like for him to be, nor is he shapely and just as robust as he needs to be. But I think just from a design standpoint, he's got a lot of nice attributes, and he's good at the ground. He's got the makings of something that you could really do a lot with on down the road. We get into a steer that that comes right behind him, and he's kind of the opposite of that. He is the more muscular steer of the lineup. He's really massive up high. He's got a lot of shape over his rib and loin, and with that comes a little coarseness up through his shoulder and his blade. He's not quite as progressive up through his front end. It's youthful about his head and neck, and maybe just a steer that's a little quicker in his maturity pattern as well. There's some give and take between those two steers, and you can kind of debate those steers as you like. And then we get into the young man steer out of Class 4, and for me, I guess I don't know how to say it other than that he's probably not the kind that I've always fed. He's a little bit of an older steer, I guess, just by looking at him up through his head and neck. But he's so good looking from the side. He's fresh in his appearance. He's shapely. He's muscular when you get behind him. He's excellent at the ground. And probably I'm a little behind the curve in terms of using one that might have just a little more age on him. But he's a good steer. I think he's the steer that you really need to tie to and go ahead and use to be your champion. He'll be that. Congratulations, young man. We get into the reserve champion, and I think, just as I said before, it becomes a little bit of a challenge on which way you want to go. You want to go with one that maybe has some more longevity, that's not quite there from a muscle standpoint, or do you want to tie into one that's just a little stouter and bolder, but comes with a little more maturity and a little coarseness up front? I'm going to go ahead and tie to this young lady over here from our reserve. I wouldn't debate those pair either one. A nice set of steers out here in this lineup. My compliments to each one of you.
Your results in AOB, your champion comes out of class number 4, Corbin Cooper, Miller 4H. Your reserve champion comes out of class number 2, Kinley Martinez, Mustang FFA. We're now ready to move on to our crossbred. We have 5 classes, 5 single entries. Those exhibitors are welcome into the arena. This time, your first place winner out of class 1, Collins Cooper, Miller 4H. Your winner out of class number 2, Dalton Garcia, El Reno, FFA. Your winner out of class number 3, Allie Lovelace, Mustang, FFA. Your winner out of class number 4, Bryson Cooper, Maple 4H. Winner out of class number 5, Maddox Shout, Piedmont, FFA. We're going to have our champion and reserve champion exhibitors in our steer show. Please be standing by in the makeup pin for a lineup for the grand drive. Entries are still open for our Pee-wee class, and the nomination period is still open for Stone Age Showmanship. Pee-wees are free. Stone Age Showman is $5 to nominate. You may bring your nominations or your Pee-wee entries up here to the announcer stand before the end of the grand drive.
Well, another good lineup of steers, and again, as before, we've got a bunch of single entries out here, and we'll talk about them. The young lady out here in Class 1 brings in just a real nice, practical kind of show steer. He's good looking from the side. He's strong in his top. He's got good shape up high, and he's just a fundamental kind of steer that's going to be easy feeding on down the road. This calf, from a maturity standpoint, probably is a little out-horsed out here today, but that's just a good, solid steer that certainly has his day on down the road. We get into this next steer in the lineup, just another real practical steer that's good in his rib shape. He's got some muscle shape up high. He's got some pin width when you step in behind him. Is he as stout-featured as some of the steers in the lineup? Probably not. And he doesn't balance probably as well as some of the other steers that we see, but certainly has some good pieces to him that we can certainly appreciate. This steer that comes next is really muscular. When you get up high on him and study him down his spine, he's massive, he's burly, and he's dense. He's got a lot of shape through his quarter, and I think with that, he comes with some difficulties in terms of his structure. He wants to get a little further forward in his knee than I'd like. At times, I see him just getting too vertical in the alignment from his shoulder down to his knee in pasturing, and he wants to tighten up in his hock ever so slightly. Then I think you get into the two contenders down here, these two gray steers, and well, I like this steer out of Class 4. He's a good-looking kind of calf, up-headed and cocky, and still yet has good shape and rib. He's a good, easy-feeding kind of steer that's good-looking up front. He's sound at the ground. He's a massive steer that's really good in behind him. And then you get into this steer that comes out of Class 5, and, obviously maturity probably helps him a little bit with regards to the others in the class. But that's a solid steer. He's good up-headed, comes out of the top side of his skeleton, really sharp up into his head and neck. He's neat in his chest for the amount of maturity that he has, and still a good, easy-feeding steer that's starting to come into his flesh. He's big-backed and he's muscular when you get behind him. He's going to be our champion today, and we're going to follow him with the other gray steer for reserve out of Class 4. Congratulations.
Your champion Crossbred comes out of class number 5, Maddox Shout, Piedmont FFA. Reserve champion comes out of class number 4, Bryson Cooper, Maple 4H. We're going to line up our champions for the Grand Drive. Champion Angus Catherine Hunter, Mustang FFA. Champion Charolais Kyle Pettigrew, Miller 4H. Champion Hereford Kyle Pettigrew, Miller 4H. Champion Limousin Cutter Bow, Maple 4H. Champion Shorthorn Addie Weinrich, Mustang FFA. Champion Scimitar, Madison Shout, Piedmont FFA. Champion AOB, Corbin Cooper, Miller 4H. Champion Crossbred, Maddox Shout, Piedmont FFA. As those exhibitors are entering the arena for the Grand Drive selection, listen carefully. These are the names that have been nominated for this evening's Stone Age Showmanship competition. Robin Enright, Marley Ferris, Dylan Rakestraw, Landon Rakestraw, Dustin Beams, Cassie Danielson, Chris Conway, Clint Symes, Jill Worthington, Thomas Mansky, Mo Newell, Caitlin Stewart. Oh.
Is that an E?
It's hard to read.
Is that an E?
It's taking a stare.
Caitlin Stair, excuse me. Those are your Stone Age Showmanship competitors. If you wish to bail on us, you're welcome to do so for a $25 scratch fee. That's payable up here at the announcer's stand. Otherwise, we'll see you in your best digs following the Senior Showmanship competition. To add a little flavor to this Stone Age Showmanship contest, the winners of Junior, Intermediate, and Senior Showmanship will be your judge.
Well, I was just saying, I really enjoy coming to these counties where they really have a good steer show. And as a guy that's fed a bunch of these things with his kids on down the road, I really enjoy watching and seeing how these things progress. And we've got a good set of steers out here. Let's give these kids a round of applause for a nice set of stock. To me, it comes down, to 3 of these steers out here, and all 3 of them are really nice nice in their kind, and all three of them, quite frankly, have different endpoints in my estimation, and I'm not sure where they're going to end up, but just from a maturity standpoint, I think we've got some differences in types and kinds, and I'm going to kind of mention this red one turnout right now, just a really practical, useful kind of steer. It's got a lot of look, and of the three that I'm looking at, he's the one that's probably the least mature of the three, but boy, he's a good-looking rascal from the side that's certainly got a bright future, especially if he stays within that breed on down the line as we get him into March and April and some of them shows down the road. The black steer the young lady has right here, just a big, massive, bold kind of steer. I just really like the way he comes out of the top of his spine, out over his rib and loin, just bust right open in that big old cage, and still yet he's a massive steer that maybe compared to one or two others out here is probably just a little bit better at the top of his quarter in the way his pins lie in him. He's a real useful kind of steer at the ground. Maybe just comes with a little more maturity up through his head and neck and maybe through his chest, but still yet that's a big body, massive kind of steer that's got a lot of meat animal shape working down his top. And then we get into this silver steer down here on the end, and probably quite a little bit different than the black steer that I talked about. He's a little more dynamic up through his front 1/3. He's a little more chiseled and neat about his head and neck. He ties in nice into his shoulder. Is he as robust through his center body? Does he come out of his spine, out of his rib and loin quite as good as the black steer? That's probably the argument there. And then when you study him on the park, I just don't see him as being the steer that's set high in his pin as the black steer that come right in before him that we described. But I think there's three really nice cattle, and there's a whole drive full of really exceptional breed cattle out here. Again, let's give them a round of applause. I'll get you a champion in reserve.
Thank you.
Grand champion overall comes out of the Scimitar division, Madison Shout, Piedmont FFA. Kit Pettigrew, you're welcome into the arena at this time.
That's Brooklyn.
Was it what?
Number 2 Cindy was Brooklyn.
That's not what I was told.
I thought that was a really good breed to work through, and some good cattle all the way through, and we kind of tied on both ends of the classes with these cattle. I thought this one was really sharp, and still yet maybe one that might require just a little more management in terms of his feeding, but that's a good quality piece of livestock right there. That's good in his angles and the way he's built, and he's muscular and has a bright future in front of him. For me, the one that suits me second best is the one that I just like from a show steer standpoint of being muscular and burly and still yet having that structural soundness. This silver steer will be reserved. Congratulations.
Okay, so that comes out of Crossbred.
Reserve grand champion comes out of the Crossbred. Congratulations to Maddox Shout, Piedmont FFA. We're going to clear the arena and reset. This is your final call for any Pee-wee Showmanship. Please check in here at the announcer stand if you have Pee-wee. Junior Showmanship exhibitors, please be getting ready. In the absence of any Pee-wee exhibitors, we'll move directly into Junior Showmanship. Junior Showmanship, please be getting ready. Final call, Pee-wee Showmanship exhibitors, please check in here at the announcer stand. Looks like we have two Pee Wee exhibitors. If there's more, please raise your hand. Check in up here at the announcer stand. We show 2 entries in Pee Wee. Well, one more time, we'd like to give thanks to all of our sponsors here for the beef show this evening. Earlier tonight, we had our champion and reserve champion banners sponsored by National Livestock. Your green champion, reserve green champion heifer buckles were sponsored by the Canadian County Cattlemen's Association. For the beef show, the champion, reserve champion steer banners were sponsored by El Reno Napa. Green Champion and Reserve Green Champion steer buckles were sponsored by OKC West Livestock Market, Inc. All weekend long, your junior showmanship banners were sponsored by Schroeder Grain. Intermediate showmanship banners sponsored by Lynn and Linda Landreth. And your senior showmanship banners sponsored by Oklahoma Ag Credit of Chickasha. Thank you for your sponsorship of this year's Canadian County Free Fair. We have our Pee Wees in the arena this time. We have 2 exhibitors. Junior Showmanship, ages 8 to 12, please be checking in at the entry gate. Junior Showmanship, ages 8 to 12, please be checking in at the entry gate. Following Junior Showmanship will be Intermediate Showmanship. Those youth should be ages 13 to 15. Senior Showmanship is for youth ages 16 to 19. Those 3 winners will be your official judges for Stone Age Showmanship. Stone Age Showmanship starts at age 19 and goes through old as dirt.
Really a good set of young people right out here. And, you know, I just make this statement to you parents and people that brought these kids to the ring. You know, cherish this moment because it doesn't last long. It won't be just a moment, and you'll be like me and have your son stand over here on the edge of the show ring and not be able to show anymore because you graduated from high school. And so these opportunities are fun and they're exciting. And as we look at these 2 kids, man, they are spot on. I mean, they have their calves looking sharp. They're standing in the right spot. They're calm with their stick. They're sawing right away on that chest floor and really got their calves the way they need to be. A really good set of showmen out here. Join me in congratulating them. Outstanding. They're so good that we're going to make it a tie for champion today. Congratulations to both of these kids.
Once again, congratulations to our Pee-wees. Let's give these future 4-Hers another round of applause. We're now ready to move ahead to our junior division. Our junior exhibitors are ages 8 through 12. Junior exhibitors, please check in at the entry gate. We're ready for you at the ring helps direction. Intermediate exhibitors, please be checking in at the entry gate. Intermediate exhibitors are ages 13 to 15. Please check in at the entry gate.
Well, another tough decision here, and these two kids are working hard and they look good. And just a couple comments. The young lady, when we asked this calf out on the lead, she's very good and relaxed in the way she goes about the ring. That calf follows good. She does a good driving her, has her stick out there parallel, exactly straight up and down to the ground the way she ought to. She's positioned right, she works her hand right, and she does a nice job. Young man, same thing. You do a nice job out there as well. I think for me, where you kind of excel is whenever you get that calf out and you bring it to a park, that thing's there and it's there quick. And I think, Ryder and I, he's standing on the edge of the ring, and we worked a lot of steers together over the years, and he'll tell you that the thing that we work on the single most is getting them parked and leaving them alone. And there's one out here that just does that a little quicker, a little sharper, and a little better, and that's the young man. He'll be your champion.
Congratulations to your junior showman, Callan Kinder, Piedmont 4H. We're now ready to move forward to our intermediate showmanship division. Those youth are ages 13 to 15. Ages 13 to 15, please be checking in at the entry gate. We're ready for you. Junior Showman Champion, please be standing by. You are one of our official judges for Stone Age Showmanship. Once again, our Stone Age Showmanship lineup looks like this. Robin Enright, Marley Ferris, Dylan Rakestraw, London Rakestraw, Dustin Beams, Cassie Danielson, Chris Conway, Clint Symes, Jill Worthington, Thomas Mansky, Caitlin Steer, Mo Newell. You are our exhibitors for Stone Age Showmanship. The only way you can bail is to scratch for a fee of $25 here at the announcer's stand.
Well, as we'd expect, as we get into the older group of kids, we kind of turn up the heat just a little bit. We got a good number out here, and all of these kids have done a good job. These kids were pulled in no particular order. I just like to kind of see how they line up and where they, how they kind of act whenever they get pulled, and how they set those calves and how they present them once they get over there in the lineup. There's one out here that I just thought done a great job all day. Really good on the stick, really presentable. One that's mechanically sound and still yet always puts their calf in the right position. This young lady with the black calf is going to have your champion.
Congratulations to your intermediate showmanship champion, Lana Danielson. Banner 4-H. Lana, please stand by. You are one of our official judges for Stone Age Showmanship. We're now ready for our senior showmanship. Those youth are ages 16 to 19 years of age. Please check in at the entry gate. Your class is next.
a great set of senior showmen. And if you would, let's give all of our kids a round of applause, and we're going to excuse the ones that are on the outside of the ring and continue to work through these four over here. So let's one more time, big round of applause, great set of kids out here and a great set of showmen. Okay, one more time, we're going to take a lap and end them up right over there, okay? Again, we got four of them out here that just do an exceptional job, and I kind of pulled these four. I thought they were a little quicker to the lead, a little quicker to get them parked, and certainly kids that were mechanically sound on the halter and the way they lead their cattle out here. I'm not going to go through and describe each one of them. Each one of these young ladies have got moms and dads and ag teachers and fitters that help them to get their cattle presented, and they're going to tell you the way they particularly want them. It's just my opinion today altogether, though. But the one that just suits me the best, young lady in the green out here, you're going to be my champion.
Your senior champion is from El Reno FFA, Rylan Fleener. Congratulations. You are our third official judge for the Stone Age Showmanship. We will reset, let our Stone Age exhibitors get their life together and enter into the arena for Stone Age Showmanship. We need to have Calvin, Lana, and Rylan to come up here to the announcer's stand. You will be our official judges for the Stone Age Showmanship. While we are getting that in preparation, we wanted to announce our Herdsmanship Award for the Cattle Division. That award has been brought up here to the announcer stand, and your Herdsmanship winner in cattle goes to Banner 4-H. Congratulations to Banner. We'll run through it one more time as you get your animals ready for Stone Age Showmanship. Your exhibitor list looks as follows. Robin Enright. Robin Enright, nominated by Kelby Worthington. Marley Ferris, anonymous nomination. Dylan Rakestraw, anonymous nomination. London Rakestraw, anonymous nomination. Dustin Beams, nominated by LL. Cassie Danielson, nominated by Lana Danielson. Chris Conway, nominated by Lana Danielson. Clint Symes, nominated by Lana Danielson. Jill Worthington, nominated by N.A. Anonymous. Thomas Mansky, anonymously nominated. Caitlin Steer, nominated by Smiley Face. Mo Newell, nominated by El Reno. Those are your exhibitors for Stone Age Showman. Make your way over to the entry gate. Your judges are standing by and are ready for your class. Our senior showman exhibitors are entering the arena at this time. We're looking for a total of 12 entries in our senior showmanship class. Judges, please count our entries. Make sure we have 12 in the arena. If we have any no-shows, that does constitute a scratch and a $25 scratch fee. Judges, you have one scratch. This is your class. We have 11 exhibitors in Stone Age Showmanship.
Landon, where'd you go?
Where's your calf?
No. You say that.
Where's your calf?
Okay, wait. Is it working? Okay, so, we picked someone.
Everyone's done a great job.
No, you say it. Everyone has done a really good job. Mostly everyone.
Except for them.
Most everyone with calves. You say it. Okay, and you're just like,
Just say it. But
Ladies and gentlemen, they have picked someone. Let's be more specific.
okay. No, you say it. Just say it. Say Mr. Conway. I think Mr. Conway's going to be our
let's just
champion.
go shake their hand.
Say I'm going to go shake the champion.
Okay, and we're gonna go shake the champion's hand.
This is your part, audience. Let's hear a big round of applause as they select your Stone Age champion, showman, Mr. Conway. Congratulations. Thank you all for your participation this year in our Stone Age Showmanship competition. All the proceeds raised in this will go towards the future endeavors of 4-H and FFA livestock activities here at the Canadian County Fall Fair and at our Spring Livestock Show. There's still much more county fair left As you enjoy the rest of your evening, stop by the carnival. The expo hall has just a little bit of time left. There is a family night going on. I believe there is a live concert outside this evening as well. Have a safe weekend, safe travels home. Thank you for all of your support of our 4-H and FFA members. We will see you at the next fair. Be safe.